Look at the horizon and tell me what you see. You see a world of velvet and glass, a world that has forgotten the taste of copper and the smell of rain on dry earth. We have entered the era of the great inversion, where the lion is caged for the comfort of the jackal, and the eagle is clipped so the crow does not feel inferior. They tell you that to be strong is to be a relic,
A ghost of a violent past that no longer has a place at the table of the polite. But listen to the wind. It does not whisper apologies. The stars do not ask for permission to burn. Society today has become a sanctuary for the fragile, a place where weakness is not a state to be overcome, but a currency to be spent. They have built a system that subsidizes the collapse of the spirit and taxes the excellence of the body. You feel the friction every single day, that silent scream in your gut when you are told to shrink yourself so others can feel large. They fear your fire because they cannot harvest its heat, so they try to douse it with the cold water of mediocrity. Stay with me as we strip away the silk and find the bone underneath. I will show you why they want you soft, and why your refusal to break is the ultimate act of rebellion. If this resonance stirs something ancient in your chest, if you feel the iron in your blood reacting to the truth, then you belong here among the few who still remember. If you're ready to stop apologizing for your shadow and start sharpening your light, stay until the end. The most vital truth is hidden where the light fails. And if you find yourself nodding to the rhythm of this truth, perhaps you've found your tribe. This isn't a plea for a following, it's a summons for the strong. In the ancient days, the forge did not care for the feelings of the iron. The hammer struck because the steel needed to find its edge, and the fire roared because without the heat, there is only brittle cold. We understood then that the mountain does not move for the weary, and the winter does not pity the unprepared. But look at the halls of power now. They have replaced the forge with a padded room. They have traded the sharp, biting truth of reality for a soft, suffocating lie. We live in a time where the wound is celebrated more than the scar. To have a scar is to have survived, to have fought, to have conquered. But to have a wound, to remain open, bleeding, and perpetually broken, that is how you earn the favor of the modern tribe. They reward the one who remains down, for the one who stands up is a threat to the collective slumber. This is the domestication of the wolf. They feed you just enough to keep you from hunting, but never enough to make you strong. They want you compliant, predictable, and above all, harmless. The moment you show teeth, the moment you display the raw, unrefined power of a soul that refuses to be tamed, the machinery of the masses turns against you. They call your strength aggression. They call your stoicism coldness. They call your ambition greed. It is a linguistic war designed to make you feel ashamed of your own nature. If you can feel the weight of these chains, even if they are made of gold and convenience, then you haven't lost your pulse yet. You are being punished because you are still dangerous to the status quo. If this makes sense to you, if you feel the weight of the lie being lifted, write the word unbroken in the comments. Let it be the first crack in the wall they built around you. The herd has 1,000 eyes, and every one of them is green with the sickness of envy. When you stand tall, you do not just reach for the sun. You cast a long, dark shadow over those who prefer to crawl in the mud. And the mud dwellers do not like the shade. They want the warmth of a fire they did not build. In this inverted age, the person who works while others sleep, the one who tempers their spirit through hardship, and the one who refuses to complain, is seen as a threat. You are a living reminder of what they chose to abandon. Your discipline is an insult to their sloth. Your silence is a critique of their noise. Your success is a mirror that shows them their own cowardice, and rather than change themselves, they would rather shatter the mirror. This is why they penalize the exceptional. They create rules that favor the slow, laws that protect the lazy, and social codes that demand you apologize for your brilliance. They want a world of flat plains, where no peak
rises high enough to catch the first light of dawn. If you are a mountain, they will try to mine you for your resources until you are nothing but a hollow shell. If you are an oak, they will try to prune you until you look like a shrub. But the roots of the strong go deeper than their blades can reach. If the fire in your blood recognizes this injustice,
If you find your own struggle mirrored in these words, then you are not alone. This is where we separate the wheat from the chaff. Write the word Titan in the comments if you refuse to lower your head. Let it be a signal to the others. We are being punished for our strength, because our strength is the only thing they cannot control. The architecture of guilt is the most sophisticated cage ever built. In the old sagas, a man's worth was measured by the depth of his scars and the weight of his word. Today they use your own conscience against you like a poisoned dagger. They tell you that your hunger for more is a sickness, that your desire to dominate your own fate is a sin against the collective. They have redefined goodness to mean compliance. They want a world of toothless wolves who believe that their inability to bite is a moral choice. But let us be clear, a person who cannot be dangerous is not virtuous. They are merely harmless. True virtue belongs only to the one who has the power to destroy but chooses to build. Society, however, fears the builder as much as the destroyer, because both require a will that cannot be broken by a bureaucrat's pen. They whisper that you should feel ashamed for your vitality. They want you to apologize for the space you occupy and the air you breathe. They offer you the crumbs of their approval in exchange for your claws. It is a slow, agonizing erosion of the soul, a soft death by 1,000 paper cuts. You feel the rot in the air, the stench of a culture that has traded its spine for a seat at the table of the mediocre. If this realization hits you like a cold wind off the northern wastes, if you feel the primal urge to reject this velvet prison, then you are finding your way back to the path. If this truth burns in your marrow, write the word savage in the comments. It is not an insult. It is a reclamation of the wildness they tried to bury under layers of polite lies. Stand in your truth, even if you stand alone in the storm. The citadel that mocks its sentinels is destined to become a tomb. We are witnessing the slow, agonizing rot of a structure that has forgotten why it was built. A society that punishes strength is like a man who cuts off his own hands because he is afraid of the power they hold. They have created a cult of the victim, a hierarchy where the most broken is considered the most holy. But who will hold the line when the winter comes? Who will face the storm when the soft-handed leaders vanish into their bunkers? The very strength they try to suppress is the only thing standing between them and the abyss. Yet they treat it like a disease. They prefer the leech to the lion because the leech is easier to manage, more predictable, and carries no threat of revolution. This inversion has created a world of ghosts, moving through life without impact, afraid to leave a footprint. They want you to be a shadow among shadows, a whisper that never becomes a roar. But the earth remembers the weight of iron. It remembers the heavy stride of the purposeful. Every time you push through the pain, every time you choose the hard path over the easy lie, you are repairing the foundation of reality itself. You are the remnant, the sliver of steel in a world of wet clay. If this realization stirs a cold, hard resolve in your gut, if you understand that your strength is not a sin, but a duty, then you are ready for what comes next. If you feel the call of the old ways, write the word iron in the comments. Let the world know that the forge is still hot and the anvil still rings. We are the ones who will inherit the ruins because we are the only ones who can survive them. The cycle of history is a brutal master, and it teaches us one cold truth. Every empire founded by giants is eventually inherited by dwarves who believe the walls were built by magic, not by blood and sweat. They sit in the high halls, playing with the treasures of their ancestors, while they mock the very spirit that made those treasures possible. They have convinced themselves that the world is a gentle place, that the shadows have been banished forever by their decrees and their polite conversations. But the shadows are merely waiting. They are waiting for the moment the last true guardian is shamed into silence. For the moment the last sword is melted down to make a mirror. When the walls finally crumble, and they always do, the first ones to scream for help will be the same ones who spat on your strength yesterday. They will look to the man they called a monster and beg him to become their savior. Do not be bitter about the exile they have forced upon you. Every hero of the old sagas found his power in the wilderness, far from the suffocating warmth of the tribal hearth. The punishment of society is actually your greatest gift. It strips away the unnecessary. It leaves you with nothing but the granite of your own character. You are being forged in the dark so that you can shine when the sun of this era finally sets. If you are starting to see the beauty in the struggle, if you understand that being an outcast from a dying world is the highest honor, then stay with me for the final revelation. The most dangerous truth is yet to come, and it will change how you see your enemy forever. If you feel the hunger for the dawn, if you are the one who will stand when the dust settles, write the word ascend. We are the architects of what comes after the collapse. The sun sets on a world of paper, and as the shadows lengthen, the truth becomes an undeniable weight. They wanted you small so they could feel safe. But safety is a ghost that vanishes when the first real wind blows. You have endured the punishment, the mockery, and the isolation, and in doing so, you have become something they cannot comprehend. A person who does not need their permission to exist. Let the weak inherit the comfort of their cages. You were born for the open sky and the jagged mountain. Your strength is not a burden you carry for them, but the foundation of the new world you will build upon their ruins. The inversion is almost complete, and when the structures of the soft finally collapse under the weight of their own delusions, it will be the ones with the calloused hands and the quiet spirits who will stand as the new masters of the dawn. This is not just a story. It is a declaration of war against the rot. You have found your way to this fire because the same blood flows in your veins. If you feel the echo of this truth, you have found your tribe. This place is for the few who refuse to be domesticated, for those who see the cliff and choose to climb. But the path does not end here. The next step in your mastery is hidden in our next journey, where we will discuss the art of the silent strike and the discipline of the void. If you want to continue this ascent, choose the next path on your screen. The world is getting colder, but for those of us with the fire inside, the winter is only a season of hunting. Stand tall, speak little, and let your actions be the only monument you leave behind. The era of the lion is returning.